This is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions for games you'd like me to look at here on the channel, please let me know. Welcome everybody to another Gwent guide here on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel. For this video, I am tackling one of my main right now in Gwent, and that is the Nilfgaard faction. Nilfgaard was added in during the beta, and it's the only faction at the moment that was not a part of the Gwent minigame in The Witcher 3. And because of that, it features a few unique touches that are different from the other factions. Now, whether or not things are perfectly balanced, that we would have to save for another discussion. But for today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the major cards that you will see if you're playing against Nilfgaard, and some of the potential strategies to use against them. So as always, we're going to start with their leaders. We have Emir, Morvran, and John Calvet. When it comes to Nilfgaard, while they are built on control, there are right now two broad categories of decks. You have those that focus on reveal, which is showing cards either in your hand or in your opponent's hand and getting bonuses for it, and making use of spies. Spies, which we'll talk about, are cards that have that little red eye icon on them, and you basically put the card on the opposing player's side and you get a benefit for it. With that said, reveal is kind of weak at the moment, which also makes Emir kind of the low man on the total pool at the moment. Revealing 3 random cards doesn't really work if your opponent doesn't have 3 cards or if you already know the cards to begin with. But when it comes to Nilfgaard, right now, the be-all end-all for dominant decks is Morvran. His ability lets you look at the top 3 cards in your deck and then play 1. That's basically a twofer. You get to see the top 3 cards so you know what's coming, and you can play one of those cards as well. Keeping in line with Nilfgaard being like the control deck style play, this is a very powerful card, and it synergizes brilliantly with one of the best golds that Nilfgaard has, Cahir, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. For me, I use John Calvet as I focus on spies. He basically lets you move all those spying cards that you gave to the opponent back to your side, effectively allowing for a massive power swing if you get it right. But definitely Morvran is the best right now, and if you have to choose between 3, you definitely want him in your corner. Now, as always, we're going to work our way up from bronze, silver to gold. The first one is the Vikavaro Medic. He basically lets you play a bronze card from the opponent's deck. For many decks and high-end strategies are built around specific bronze cards that are tailored to the respective faction. The Vikavaro Medic not only allows you to take them out of their graveyard so they can't be resurrected, but it sets up some very crazy synergies with Nilfgaard, or just if you have enough of the medics on your side, you can basically almost run the opponent's strategy on your side, which makes them very powerful. One of the mainstays of Nilfgaard is the Emissary. You play this on the opponent's side, and it lets you look at the top 2 bronze units on your deck, and you can play one, and then the other one goes randomly back into your deck. This is very powerful as a way of thinning your deck, aka getting rid of the lower tier cards or your bronze tier cards, so you have a greater chance of drawing your silvers and golds. Not only that, but this can be comboed off of the Vikavaro Medics to basically replay them on the next round, so you can play even more cards. The Ambassador is another spy. You play him on the opposing side, and you get 12 strength added to a random non-gold on your side. This can be very useful as a swing, but it can go horribly wrong if you're playing against a fellow Nilfgaard player and he has spies on your side of the field. When it comes to reveal Nilfgaard, the Spotter is a mainstay of that. Every time a card gets revealed in either hand, he gains +1 strength. One of the potential or dominant strategies for Reveal Nilfgaard is to save these guys for the final round or if you're playing the second round trying to win, and just let all the reveal bonuses stack up. The Black Infantry Arbalist removes 3 strength from an opposing non-gold, but if the unit has been boosted in any way, shape, or form, they will remove 6 instead. This is a great way to remove cards that have been buffed, and do some decent damage if need be to a majorly buffed card. The Combat Engineer allows you to make a unit resilient so they will stay on your side of the field for the next round. Very useful if you're going for strategies that involve boosting a major card, and can be used effectively with your emissaries as well as an emergency way to get cards to keep them on your field. The Nilfgaard Brigade, basically this attacks spy units for 5, and then if it removes them, they gain 4 base strength. Chances are, if you're playing against someone who has spies and is playing as Morvaran, they will probably have a brigade, maybe 1 or 2, just to get rid of any spies they give you. Now the big one that you will most likely see in almost any Nilfgaard deck is the Rot Tosser. This card, when it spawns on your side of the field, will let you play a cow carcass on any lane on the opponent. After 2 enemy turns, so that means they go, you go, and then they go again, this cow carcass will destroy the weakest non-gold unit on the row besides itself. And what that means is if your opponent has like 5 3 strength units on their side and the Rot Tosser goes off, it will destroy all of those. Now the downside is that given the 2 turns that it takes to play it at the moment, it can be hard to pull this off, as there are many ways of stopping it. But this can be a great way to force your opponent into emergency mode to play cards to counter it instead of going with their own plan. When it comes to spies, the Imperial Brigade is a major part of that. Gains 2 strength for each spy unit that's on the field or on the opposing side, or when a spy unit appears. This is an easy way to synergize with spies and gain bonuses. The weakness though is if you play multiple ones at the same time, it's very easy to set up a Scorch opportunity. When it comes to reveal, the Mangonel is a part of that. Basically takes 2 strength for each time a card or in a hand has been revealed, and that's about it. The Alchemist, again, part for reveal decks, reveal a random card. The Nilfgaardian Knight is one of the strongest bronze cards in terms of strength in the game at the moment. The downside is that it reveals a random card in your hand. Still, for 11 strength, that is a really powerful way of using that. Joachim de Witt plays a 5 strength on your opponent's side, lets you play a card on your side, and adds 8 to its strength. Again, very useful for thinning your deck and providing some much needed power on the board. Fake Series is a card that it's not used all that much, at least from what I've seen, but it has a very weird ability that I need to mention here, especially for new players. What happens is you play Siri on the opponent's side, and each turn she gains 1 strength. When your opponent passes, she will flip back to your side of the board. One thing that I've seen a lot of novice players screw up with is not estimating that power swing and ending their turn while in the lead, and then things will basically reverse when she comes over. Another major part of reveal decks is Vanmir here. Again, gains 1 strength for when cards are revealed, and it's basically used as an effective power swing. Aux, a Witcher who will also lock units or non-gold units. That's basically it. And then we come, as we're heading up into the silvers, there's a lot to talk about. Treason is another card that if you're playing against an opponent who makes use of spies and either has John Calvert or Morvaran, Treason is a possible option. It basically lets them move an opposing spy unit back to their side and adds 8 to its strength. Another way of trying to get that massive power swing. is technically it's hard to tell which is the weaker form, Treason or John Calvert's ability. John lets you move all spies, while Treason only lets you move one, but gives you power for it. Now back to the silvers. Another big one, Cantarella. Play this on the opponent's side, and you get to draw a card on your side. You can either keep that card, or draw another card and put the first one at the bottom of your deck. Not only that, but she is weather immune, and if you pull her back, she will lose 6 strength. This is a very effective card, especially when you combine it with John Calvert or Treason, to essentially get additional card draw. And in Gwent, card draw is a very powerful ability, since there aren't too many ways of getting it. And with her, you can also combine this with Decoy to basically play her a second time and get a second draw. She's usually a target for Devour decks, or as a way of locking her or keeping her on their side of the field. But again, just a very useful card, and being able to get that second card can mean all the difference in the world. Now when it comes to the golds, Nilfgaard features some very interesting gold cards. Letho here banishes essentially 4 units, and when a unit is banished, it means they are removed from the graveyard as well, and absorbs their power. This card by itself can be used to preserve your side of the field, since gold cards can't be affected by too many effects, or can be comboed in many ways which we don't have the time to talk about here, to get that power back on your side of the field. But Letho can also be used as a great way to just demolish an opponent's strategies by removing their bronze and silvers from the game. Tibor, basically, as long as the opponent has not passed, he gains 15 base strength, putting him at 22 strength for a gold. The opponent draws the bronze card from their deck and reveals it. This is basically a closer. You play this when you want to try and end the round, because it's very hard to come back from a 22-point deficit. Other than that, that's basically it for him. Vilgefortz. This is one that chances are, if you're going to play against a Nilfgaard player, 9 times out of 10 they're going to have Vilgefortz. What Vilgefortz does, and I love saying that name by the way, is he will destroy any non-gold card on the board. If you choose a card on the opponent's side, they will get another card, and which will be revealed. So basically, they have one card that has been majorly boosted. You can play Vilgefortz and destroy it. If you use him to destroy a card on your side of the board, you will then draw a card immediately, and then you will be forced to play it. And very powerful card. And as you can see in the rules there, if the opponent has passed, you may only target a card on your side. This is to prevent you from basically trying to secure the win after they've passed. Being able to draw that additional card is typically what Vilgefortz is used for. And there are many opportunities where you can get rid of a card that has only 1 to 2 strength, something on your side of the board that's spying, or anything like that, that basically lets you get a free card. And that's what makes him just very powerful for Nilfgaard. And Nilfgaard, regardless of their build, chances are will have him. Stefan Skeleton, basically, he lets you look at your own deck and choose any card you want to be the next card on the top. Basically, this lets you pick whatever card you want to draw next, be it through Cantarella, Vilgefortz, or anything like that. Very powerful, and the fact that he's 9 strength also helps as a potential swing. And basically, just being able to pick your next card, again, gives you a lot of leeway and flexibility in terms of controlling the opponent. But when it comes to Nilfgaard, Cahir is a major part of this. He's one of the best golds in the game, and unless you are going for a very specific strategy with Nilfgaard, he will be a part of your deck. What he does is, besides having the 10 strength, is if your opponent has not passed, he will let you reactivate your leader power. Basically, if you've used it during the match, you can use Cahir, and you'll get a second shot of it that you can use again. And if you haven't figured it out by now, combined with Morvran's ability gives you some ridiculous flexibility in your play style. And it's basically why Morvran and Cahir go together very well. Now he does let the opponent draw a bronze card, but again, with Morvran's ability to basically look at your deck and choose any card of the top 3 to play, it is 9 times out of 10 more than worth it to have him. And other than that, Sardicius here basically lets you look at the top 3 cards on your opponent's side, and you force one to go to the back. Effectively, another form of control stops the opponent. Let's say you see he has a really good gold card that he will draw around 2. You can put that at the back and hopefully stop them from getting a card that could effectively ruin your day. So those are the major cards for Nilfgaard. When it comes to it, Nilfgaard is a very tricky faction to play. They are always about controlling the opponent, and they don't have too many almost like machine strategies. Like if you saw the Northern Realms video that I put out, they have some ridiculous synergies with their cards that if you can't stop them, they will just steamroll you. Nilfgaard doesn't have that in this case. A lot of their cards are about controlling the opponent's side or making use of spies to try and affect board control. They don't have any one card other than like the Cahir Morvran combo that is, be all end all. And when it comes down to it, basically, if you have defenses to your own play, whether you're any of the other factions, if you can stop a Nilfgaard player from affecting your side of the board, chances are they won't be able to basically put enough on their side to win. But again, we are still in the beta, and I'm sure CD Projekt is looking at everything in terms of balancing and changing things. Nilfgaard did receive some buffs and nerfs with the positioning patch, and I'm sure we'll see more as time goes on. But that's going to do it for this play. For those of you watching this, what do you think of Nilfgaard, and are there any potential strategies that you really like? Are there any cards that I didn't mention that you think are major mainstays of the Nilfgaard faction? Let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If they're still interested in continuing this series, we'll take a look at another faction real soon. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're brand new. Check back daily for more great discussions on video games here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GW for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GW for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.